Ooh, we'll get some context on that. We're joined by Spencer Gerald. He's the CEO of SPARK Neuro. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Explain what SPARK Neuro does.
Wonderful. Well, I'll explain it from the perspective of if you were one of our research participants. You would come in, we would hook you up to numerous neuroscience technologies. So for example, you'd have an EEG on your head reading your brain activity, as well as other devices that read your neurological impulses.
Right.
And what we're doing with that data is through artificial intelligence and machine learning, putting it through algorithms where we're calculating thousands of data points per second in order to output what are you feeling right now? How much are you paying attention right now? So that we could really understand human behavior in a way that was not possible before.
And how are you using it? So you're basically wiring me up. You're judging my emotions, my electrical impulses in my brain to see how I'm reacting to something, and
Precisely.
you use it reacting to marketing materials.
Exactly. Our
advertising.
Our core is advertising. So, in the past, since the days of Mad Men, since the 1960s, the way that advertising has been evaluated is through focus groups and surveys. And for various reasons, we've learned that these ways of researching human beings are incredibly biased.
Why? Why? Because people react the way they think that you want them to react,
There's
rather
so
than being
many
honest.
reasons, including that. So, one reason is they're not honest, right? But not necessarily because they're trying to lie to you, but because there's a groupthink involved in a focus group. Like, we all want to sound impressive. We all want to be socially desired. We also aren't conscious of our emotions real time. Right now, you don't know exactly how you're feeling. And if a 60-second ad is what you're producing, you want every single second to count, and yet there's no way as a human being you could say, well, I got bored for 4 seconds and I got excited for 3 seconds. That level of intuitive understanding of your own emotions is just not possible.
I want to get back to the point about bias, though, because there's been a lot of criticism of those that are using algorithms, the Googles, the Facebooks, that actually whoever's building the algorithm that's assessing this and reacting if it's artificial intelligence is inherently biased by the person who's built the algorithm. What's your response to that?
Well, there's always some truth on both sides of the coin. And in our case, what we're doing is we're not building something that's meant to put a result out that makes a recommendation to you or anything like that.
Okay.
And because of that difference, there's no bias that comes into play for us that's meaningful, because our job is to understand human beings, right? Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're thinking, however much you're paying attention or not, like, that's what we need to measure. And there's no motivation for me to have a bias in understanding that.
You're seeing huge investment. Japan's a huge growth opportunity for you. Clearly, advertisers for some of these big tech companies, this is the way they make money. The advertising is how they make money. Talk to me about that, because I do think there's a lot of excitement, not only surrounding the use of artificial intelligence, but specifically what you're doing.
Yeah, an advertiser goes and creates this beautiful piece of art, they hope, and they air it on television, and they hope that it gets attention, and they hope that it stirs emotion, because if not, it's never going to be remembered, and it won't have an effect on people. But how do they really measure its effectiveness? Well, they're using all of these archaic methods, and the methods aren't working. And so what we're coming into the scene with is something that the market is really desiring, which is an understanding of truly, like, where are people getting bored? Where are we spiking emotion? And so with our technology, they can optimize every second, so they make sure to retain attention.
It's basically quantifying something that could be quite fluffy. I want to ask you about the downsides, though, because we came into this with Elon Musk saying, look, the risk of artificial intelligence is actually that it's not used in this way, that people end up using it against each other, or that it costs jobs, or that we don't keep up with the skills that are required. Are these risks valid, concerns valid?
Yeah, I think that the concerns are valid in certain industries and in certain respects, but you have to take it all into the overall context of what's really happening. So, will jobs be lost because of autonomous vehicles?
Yes.
I would say certainly yes. In terms of what we're doing, we will be creating a lot of jobs in the world of artificial intelligence and machine learning and human-computer interaction, and there's actually a ton of opportunity there. For us, where the risks lie, well, it's no different than previous research methods. We're digging into understanding human beings, and we need to make sure that because that is a really powerful source of information, that it is used for good, that it doesn't cross some ethical boundary where we know too much and we're using it in a manipulative way.
Is that a risk?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about what we're learning, the level of depth that we're learning about, even just right now, if I had you hooked up, how are you responding to me? I would know quite a bit of information. And if I'm using that in a way where I want to really manipulate you, that's very different than wanting to understand and create content that's more interesting to you, that's more engaging to you.